podcast. So, welcome to season 2, episode 2 of the Front Row Media podcast. I have a new guest with me, as you can see, another designer though as well, which I find to be very, very interesting. Somebody I've actually had on the publication before in a different capacity, but somebody whose work I've been following, I think, for some time now. Was a third year fashion student last year in Cape Town, fashion graduate.
Yeah.
I'm not going to actually speak too much. I know I can ramble. I'll let them introduce themselves. So maybe just let the FRM podcast know who you are, where you're located, and what you do.
Okay, cool. Hello, everyone. My name's Panashe Ndhlovu, and I'm a recent fashion design graduate student. And I'm also a stylist, and I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Perfect. I love the fact that the podcast is evolutionized to a point where we need to even say the location. So I have to say, because we've got people watching this all over. Touch me, it even surprises me. But Panashe, welcome. I think it's amazing to have you. You look amazing. So I think let's literally dive right into it, because how you look actually, it's so funny because how you look is actually, when I perceive it from when I look at your brand and I look at your work and I look at your styling, there's a lot of synergy between that. But I want to maybe let's start that off, your personal style. How would you describe it?
Oh, okay. I would describe my personal style as fun, whimsical, and a beautiful mess.
Yeah,
I would say. Because I have
I love your rings a lot, by the way.
Thank you. It's maximalist as well. That's a good word. Because I like layering, mixing textures, colors. That's the vibe.
Yeah, I love the word maximalist. And interestingly enough, I've been having a couple of conversations with people, and the whole maximalist versus minimalist chat has been coming up. I'm super anti. What I'm going through right now, I'm very, very anti-minimalism. I think, I don't know. I find it to be a bit boring. And it can be a bit stripped down. So to engage with a very maximalist personality, for me personally, can be very, very refreshing. I try to also incorporate more maximalist things with even how I dress. So even this tee, very maximalist graphic tee, a friend of mine. Exactly. But maybe let's then take it back to where it all began for you. So I actually where did it all come from? So the whole maximalist personality, I'm assuming that must be something which traced about growing up. I'm assuming. But I want to maybe find out, when you grew up, where did you grow up firstly? And also what was the relationship of fashion specifically within that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, I had two different main chapters, two main chapters of my childhood. And one of them being me growing up in Zimbabwe, which is where I was born, and I'm from there.
Cool.
Growing up in Zimbabwe with my grandparents. Cool. And that chapter of my life was very, how I remember it now, is very colorful, warm, bright. It was eating mangoes freshly picked from the tree, riding a bicycle with grandma. It was a really good time for me. And then the other chapter being me growing up in South Africa as well. And this was a little bit different, maybe a little bit of culture shock, being introduced to the Western world a little bit. And learning new languages, new cultures, and a new experience, basically. So I feel that's my childhood summarized. And that could show up somehow in my fashion today. And another main event that has influenced that started my love for fashion is when I was about 11 or 12, I would say I had cancer. And it's a little bit of a sad story, but it's like, I had cancer and I had surgeries and treatments, and that kind of like changed my appearance at the time. And obviously like losing confidence and all of that. And so I would like stay in my room watching music videos and YouTube and come across like fashion shows and fashion videos on YouTube at the time. And so I kind of started trying to find ways to change my appearance, but in a way that I could control. So for me at the time, fashion through like watching all these videos. So it was like a little form of escapism for me at the time. So I started like, because it was the one thing I could control in my appearance. So I just started dressing up at the time.
I feel
like
you.
trying to take attention away from my face.
I won't lie to you. I really enjoyed I really enjoy what styling can really do as a whole, like as an entirety. I really enjoy like so for me, just hearing you speak right now, like I'm kind of piecing everything together. It makes so much sense. It's like you've really created like an identity around styling. So it really makes sense. Like I don't know, like we're gonna get into it a bit later on because it's I'm very impressed by how you're able to flip a negative into a positive. And people who are able to do that for me are people who I always manage to somehow find in life. I mean, hence you being here. So I think I'm very interested to hear about when you mentioned like back home, like you mentioned growing up in you mentioned like eating ripe mangoes. A friend bought me a mango the other day, so I get what you mean.
It's good.
I get you. And then growing, where did you were you been staying in Cape Town like your whole life in South Africa? Or like when did you move here specifically and where did you move here? And how could you compare? I'd love to hear the comparison or your opinion in terms of like the dichotomy between, or was there even a dichotomy? Like I would like when you mentioned Zim, I saw very like flowers, very colorful, very much like, and that's a lot of your personality. And so how has that like that relationship been compared to like growing up in South Africa? But I'm just keen to hear like what similarities or differences there are between the two.
So I moved to South Africa, Cape Town when I was 10, I want to say. So that's like around grade 4. And so before I'd lived my whole life in Zim and my parents were here working. That's why I was with my grandparents. So I would say like the difference is while I was in Zim, it's not like so much greenery, like nature and color. Me and my grandma like walking through the forest, like foraging for mushrooms, like edible ones. And like moving to Cape Town, it was very city, like less green, more like buildings and industrial vibe. So that's like the only, and also here in Cape Town, there's like so many more cultures. As in Zim, it's just like you're Zimbabwean, Shona, Ndebele, and here they speak like multiple languages.
It's lit here.
So I feel like South Africa is very cultural, like rich in culture because there's so many different ones, and Zim is like less. You like not exposed to more cultures, I would say.
I get you. It does make sense. It does make sense. And I think thanks for explaining because like that's what I was trying to like understand. Like things when you speak about Zim, actually, it's very like it's from a biographical perspective, like from what it looks like, it sounds like super nice, like super beautiful. Like and it's
relaxing, peaceful,
You feel me? Yeah. Like, and I won't lie to you, like a lot of that somewhat comes through in your work somehow. Like and again, like I said, we're gonna get into it in a bit, but like your clothing, and this is like me speaking about you from a design perspective, even your styling, it's always something which is aesthetically pleasing. You get what I'm saying? It's something which is just different colors like meshed together, but like in a considered way.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to understand, like, when you're in Cape Town now, how do you find fashion? Do you find other art mediums first? Are you in school doing like art, painting, or like something? Or I don't know, like, are you playing sports? I don't know. But how does the connection between, yeah, I mean, it's real. I used to play sport. People be
Yeah.
laughing. I'm like, bro, I was like really playing. Like, but I'm like, how do you start to connect everything, your whole identity with like, okay, cool, I think like fashion or styling could be a thing. Well, in that way.
For me, I feel like because my culture and upbringing is a part of me already, I don't necessarily need to show it in a traditional sense. So in my work and mixing fashion with who I am, it's like the essence of like my culture and the essence of my upbringing with fashion and like creative. Yeah.
That's so real.
That answers your question.
Oh, that's so real. Like this word keeps on coming up in different parts of my life, essence. And like, yeah. So like when you said that, even like right now in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I fully get what you're saying. Okay. So then let's fast forward, because like from even from how you describe it, I feel as if like it's genuinely something which is like part of your DNA more than anything. So when do you start making clothes? When do you start styling people? When does that journey begin? Like,
I'm not sure I understand that one.
No, in the sense of like, when did you start like practicing fashion, if that makes sense?
Oh,
yeah. So like, when did you decide, or like, what was the clicking moment? A lot of people say, "Oh no, I've known I wanted to be a fashion designer from like." I don't know, like when I was how old, my mom had a brand and I interned. Some people are a lot latent like me with fashion media. Like, so I want to understand, when did you realize, you know what, I think this is what I want to do? And when did you start like actually like practicing it?
For me, I feel like ever since I was in grade 4, I don't know, like ever since I was in grade 4, I've liked dressing up, and my parents are super religious. So like I wasn't allowed to wear like revealing clothing or whatever, but I was like that child, the rebellious one.
Yeah.
I'll get yelled at for wearing things that I'm not allowed to and things like that. I don't know if you remember I think it's the top model books. It's like it's like this book that had croquis in it already, and you can draw clothes on top of them, or like paint with glitter on it. Like I don't know how to explain it, but we had those books. This one girl, her name's Alia, in my primary school, she had that book. And everyone would be like, "Oh my God, can I get one?" And like she would tear croquis out of her book and
so
like give
real.
it to everyone, and everyone would like draw on it or like make outfits on it. And yeah, that's just like when it started, I feel like. And then throughout school, everyone would always compliment my outfits, things like that. Like I would really put effort into my outfits, whether I was in my hippie phase or whatever phase I was in at the moment. Like really seemed to like whatever I had on, because I would like make a statement with whatever I was wearing. And yeah, so I feel like that's where styling/design started. Yeah.
That's cool. That's such a natural, authentic way, like to be ushered into it. Like it's kind of like it, I don't know, it kind of just feels like it was kind of like made to happen. And honestly, for me, it really makes sense. Like it really, I also understand, like I think at that age and stuff, like if I was a girl and I think I was in the same school as you and you're wearing some of the things you're wearing and stuff, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, let's have a conversation. Like, what are those Sandy Lang bros? Like, let's talk about that. Like, But yeah, like I want to ask you a bit more about where you studied. I'm not too sure like how much of that experience you can share, but I think it's very valuable of me to ask because um I mean, like I personally have a high revere for the institution, and secondly, I think like I love asking more people to speak about their experiences as fashion design students
Yeah.
because we need more of that. We need to normalize, I think, art education in general in Africa. And we need to kind of like just also give advice and like just like speak about it or like just what in whatever capacity we can.
Yeah.
So you did 3 years as a fashion design student. You did your grad show last year and
Yes.
stuff. How was the whole experience? Like, how did you see yourself when you entered the doors and when you exited?
Yeah.
Like, how, were you like, fuck, like I grew, like this is
Yeah.
real, or like what?
Yeah. So for me, I went to Designer Academy of Fashion, and for
Yeah,
me, like 20, like end of high school, basically, I was
yeah,
looking around schools where I wanted to go, and I had a look at all the other fashion schools in the city close by,
yeah,
and that really stuck with me because also I'm
yeah,
a little bit of an introvert, and it's a
yeah,
small school.
yeah.
So I really that was the thing that sold me the most.
Yo, shout out Daph.
Um,
I would say like I believe in it.
yeah,
Yeah, I just I like the institution. I like the people. I like the way you guys do things. I think it's just it's very forward
yeah,
thinking. But yeah,
yeah. So going in, I first started doing the styling course because I couldn't afford to do the 3 year.
yeah,
And then like a month in, I think, not even like a few weeks in, because they already knew that I had already applied for the 3 year diploma.
mm,
And they knew that I couldn't afford it. So I was
yeah,
just doing the styling course because I was like my last resort. I wanted to do something in fashion. So I was doing like a
yeah.
short.
And I can imagine
Um,
you must have been so fire at the styling course.
yeah, I was like,
I can
it's
imagine.
fine.
I'm
I'll
sure
do
they were
the
like,
short
nah.
course.
I'm sure they were like, nah. This chick has to do the design. Like, we've got to be for
And
real.
also, I literally already visited the school 3 times. Like
Yeah.
one with my friend, one with my mom, one with my boyfriend, just showing like 3 open days I went to, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you went to 3 open
Um,
days. Like you were set on it. Like you
they
were
were
like,
like
wait.
just looking at me, probably like, oh, what is this girl doing? But yeah, so I started doing the short
That's
course,
fine.
and then a month or a few weeks in, I got
Mm.
a bursary.
Yeah.
Um, because they had a look at my work that I was doing in the short course.
Yeah.
And then they offered me a bursary, and then yeah, I started doing the diploma. Even
Yeah.
though like
I won't lie
like
to you.
oh my
Like
god, like it's over for me. I can't like I'm not doing the
it
three
makes
year thing.
I would have done the exact same thing. I won't lie. So if I literally ask, because thing is, I want styling for me. It's so inherent to you. Like it's so like
Yeah.
it comes across so naturally. So if I saw a portfolio and I like saw some of your stuff, I would have been like, yo, like let's
Yeah.
have a conversation here. Like what's going on? Like we could do
Yeah.
something here, guys. So it's good to also hear like that they also were like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, here's some cash. Let's get you like some real, let's get you like
Yeah.
really doing some stuff. Like that's
Yeah.
very rare in the creative space, especially in South Africa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
And also it was
yeah,
like I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but it was like after 2020, because I graduated in
sure.
2020.
Yeah,
So there was no funding and any of
yeah.
that. So like
Mm.
they really helped me out, like
That's
putting
probably
something to get me a
literally,
bursary.
dude. Yeah,
I was
literally.
very, very grateful.
Yeah,
And then I took a 3 year course. And during my time, I really like I would say to anyone go to DAF
yeah,
because it's so like the experience is so hands-on, like individual
yeah.
attention because it's not a big school and they really
Mm.
encourage you to like be your own person, like creatively. They encourage there's like no limits to your
Yeah,
creativity. And they're so encouraging and like helpful and yeah. And it's like a little community. If you need help,
yeah.
you can just ask. Like it's really not like that. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. But
it's so proper. Like one of the first institutions to pay attention to front row media or to even like reach out and stuff was DAF. I had a friend of mine. Yeah, I had a friend of mine who was doing his third year. He actually won the Nicholas Coates Prize at that time. And I remember the Nicholas Coates Prize at that time, because I think Nicholas, RIP, amazing designer, he actually went to DAF. So I think they started like a bursary, like, or a fund after his passing, and he was very good friends with Lucanio Ndingi. So I saw he was actually at your guys' show. I actually saw him in front row.
Yeah, everyone's super excited to have him.
Like he had a judging pad as well. I was like, yo, like, this is so proper. Like you can literally he literally comes to be a judge. Like that's so sick. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like my friend who was there, I think he was the top student or something. And then he got that prize. And it also was like something which was like a bursary situation or like whatnot. I actually shot his grad collection because I was also frequenting as like a film photographer at the time. So he was just like, yo, like, let's just shoot it. And I didn't. I came to this grad show. So the stuff was prints and the exhibitions and so I know what level it's at. And it's a really high level.
Exactly.
Cool. Let's maybe speak more about that. Let's speak more about your brand that you developed when you were in school. So what would you say? So from a name perspective, or like a color palette and prints and textures, I can say what I think about it, but I prefer if you go first. And then like I'll chime in afterwards. But yeah, what's the chat with your brand specifically, and like what you make, and what are your inspirations at all? I've always wanted to ask you that. Like who inspires you? What designers or brands or like aesthetics inspire you?
Okay, well, I'm gonna start with talking about my collection. So to me, it's just like a school project because of like all the work that went into it. It's like my life's work, basically. Like all the love and like effort that went into it. And it's inspired by a combination of things, like a lot, like my childhood growing up, like I said, like the essence of my upbringing, and also what inspires me every day and what inspires me, like Harajuku fashion. I have an obsession.
It's so real. I mean, it's so real. I'd be shocked if you said not.
It's my inspiration for all my creative work, like my styling and my grad collection. I just feel like there's so many different translations to what Harajuku fashion is. So like it's never boring. It never gets boring, or you never run out of inspiration. I feel it's so broad and like, so I'm constantly inspired by it all the time. And for my collection, I was inspired by Harajuku fashion, the essence of my childhood, and also kind of the way I dress as well, and the way I put things together, like the styling of my clothes, what I put in my hair, the shoes I wear, the prints, just the textures as well. So I really tried to put all of that in one. And I think I was very successful, I feel.
Yeah, you definitely were. I would trust you.
And to the point of like colors and prints and textures, I feel like all three go hand in hand if you want to like spice up an outfit or just make a garment look good or something. Like, if not all three, it's color. If it's not color, it's print. If it's not print, it's texture.
Got you. It's like, yo, they all matter, right? Don't even get me wrong. They all matter.
Exactly.
But right, the animal form, all animals, like, you know what I'm saying? There's kind of like levels to it. So I'll go color.
Exactly. If something if you want something to look good, you have to have one of those, I feel like.
Yeah, because I can't even lie to you. Hey, like I think as soon as you literally miss color, like it's already just
exactly.
Yeah.
It's already
It's like,
like,
oh
oh,
my God.
now we need to add texture.
It's beige minimalism, and
Exactly.
I'm gonna have a headache. If I see anything more minimalistic again, I'm literally going to have a headache, like for real. But cool. So how was the experience of your grad show? Like how was that?
Hey.
I know as a lecturer, that's you get your people to come together, you get your people to buy the tickets, you get the people to sit front row, excuse the pun, not really. But like how was that whole experience for you? Like everybody like being there, sitting to watch your creations, like and Lukanyam Dingy was front row. Again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how does that feel?
On the day, I really didn't know what was going on. I was so stressed out, like my whole body just shut down. Like I was just doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
Like I was stressed. And like also we're meant to make 5 looks and I made 6.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's so. Oh, you made an extra look.
I made an extra look.
I get you though. Like I'm
because
like,
I was like, it's my final show. Like I want it to look good. Like this is the time. So yeah, after processing, I feel like it was a very good experience.
Yeah.
And it's so surreal. Like so many, like we had also an exhibition, which is just industry members and us.
I loved that.
A little exhibition of our work.
Yeah.
And I did a display of one of my looks on like a chair. Like I basically dressed up the chair. And then I had my portfolio. I had like flowers around. I tied bows everywhere, just like create the mood. That was a lot because it was like a lot of industry members, like 100, I'm pretty sure. And that was so scary because also like, I'm pretty sure I have like performance anxiety. Like when someone asks me, "Oh, so explain your work," I'm like,
yeah. So, that's real.
Yeah, but I did my best and I tried to explain my concept and my ideas and all. It was really good, actually. I was thinking we're so lucky to have all those people come and see our work and give us a chance, to explain ourselves. And then the show was amazing. There were like staff really went all out. Like there were so many cameras, like people taking photos of the thing.
Yeah.
And Lucanio and Nicola Cooper, like the panel were in the front, like just like looking up and writing. It was nerve-wracking, but it was a very good experience. We were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go out after the show. No.
Yeah.
No. It was like we were all so tired from like the adrenaline as well, and just
it's a moment, like for real, and like I totally understand that. Like then I know that you also don't worry about the time. So if it cuts or anything, I'll literally just start another call and then I'll just record from there. But I think it's like 3 or 4 more questions. But I'd love to know, like, you also showcased your work at the community fashion show.
Yes,
right? So I don't know much about the events. Some in Joburg, of course. But like, but I know a bit on social media and stuff. And I saw like there was like I thought it was somewhat of a party event initially, and then this is the first time I did the fashion show collab thing, right? Because I saw the fashion show, but which was sick. So how did that go? I saw it was like a couple of young designers. I'm just showcasing some work and stuff, right?
So I got asked to show because Miklali, they scouted us at the Duff Fashion Show, and then they asked us to show again at the Creative event.
Smart of them to go there.
Yeah. And it was like there was like a music festival thing happening at the other side. The fashion show was before that.
Sure.
And then the music festival was like a little bit after that. So like people coming in to just see what's going on. Some people sat to watch the show. And yeah, it was a really great opportunity for me to like have a second chance, like in case I didn't like some styling on the first show or something.
I feel you.
I got to change that. So that was really nice. And then yeah, it was very well planned out and executed. And the team was great. And I got to meet new and upcoming designers like myself. And I got to show with some of my friends from school. And yeah, it was a pretty enjoyable experience. And I was really tired.
Yeah, it's real.
Another show, but yeah, I was so grateful, and it was a lot of fun. And it was like a good like collaboration of everyone, not everyone, but like the creative industry in Cape Town, because there was some students doing interviews and stuff of us, and then we were showing, and then there were photographers there. So it was very cool.
I actually saw the interviews. I saw the interviews on social media, I think. Yeah.
It was very cool and inspiring,
Yeah, like I think first of all, shout out Crate as well. They do amazing work. Like I love the work that they do. Cool. I have two more questions. One is more of like a subjective topic, really, but I think I just want to maybe hear what your opinion is. It's just as like a young designer, stylist. And that's, I think, the relationship of ethics. I think focus on ethics more than sustainability. But the relationship of ethics more than anything, and sustainability within the whole local fashion industry. And I think like this is the FRM podcast. I'm not asking you this in a very like cliche, regurgitaty, like greenwashing way or something. Nah, I'm asking in a very like a real way. Like, how do you feel like the local industry treats like stuff like greenwashing, even, for example, which is a real thing. Like, I mean, I stayed in Cape Town for some time, don't even get me wrong, but like I came across a lot of instances where I was like, I'm not too sure whether this definition of sustainability or what we're aiming to be, the whole more circular, actually matches how we're acting, tangibly how we're acting. So I think and I think that, and for me, that was more of a personal thing. So what is your own interpretation of ethics? And then how does that relate to sustainability? And considering we're a third world country as well,
Yeah, exactly.
So can you really shame Sheen? So I'm mentioning these things because I'm trying to like phrase different scenarios where I'm like, what's the conversation?
No, I feel like in Cape Town, they're definitely doing what they can on like educating everyone on sustainability, like that, on the environmental front. And I feel like that is important. Like we have things like Twig magazine, and they're having awards and stuff like that. I think it's pretty
cool. Shout out Craig.
But I feel like while it is important to focus on the environment and our part as designers and creatives, we forget to talk about people and people that are making our clothes, or people that are
very important.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like it is important to talk about and educate people on the environmental side, but also to speak about and educate people on how to treat people. Treat people fairly, pay people fair wages.
People fairly. Yeah.
Exactly. Pay people for their work. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think, I feel like it's not something that's talked about a lot. It is talked about here and there in Cape Town, but it's obviously not the main focus. And I feel like we should give it as much attention as the environmental side of things.
I love what you mentioned about the people, and that's what dude. Like South Africa used to be a manufacturing hotspot,
Yeah.
before like everything happened with China, and before like a lot of the factories, which are in Salt River, which are in Cape Town, in Woodstock.
Exactly.
If you pass by there and stuff, like a lot of those factories, which are literally dormant now and don't work. Cape Town used to be a manufacturing hotspot. Like we literally used to create jobs. Like we were good, you know. So I'm always the people thing of it is for me like where we kind of like maybe lost it a bit, and I think that's where like that's the most important part for me of sustainability, because we're such people-centered communities. But I hear exactly like what you're saying. Then the last thing is now 2024, what is the future? So what are you looking forward to? Not even just from a brand perspective, man, but like, are you climbing Mount Everest? Like what's the chat? Like, what are you keen for in this year of our Lord?
Okay, that's a hectic question.
Not really, but like, just like, what are you just like, what's your interest, or like just anything, small, minute, big?
To me, I feel like 2024 is a year of Panashe, not as a brand or as a stylist, but like as a person. And because going through college, like 3 years of college, you don't have time to like take care of yourself or think about yourself really. And like just doing things outside of fashion related things even. So for me, it's like working on my craft, working on myself as well. I know that's like so okay, but like taking better care of myself, like exercising more, getting out the house more. Oh my God.
And more than anything, having fun as well. Like that's a major part of life. People forget that. Like that's like a major part of literally being. So like that's actually that's part of taking care of yourself, to be honest with you.
Honestly. And like just finding new hobbies for myself. Because I'm not so like just all fashion now.
I get you.
Like I finding new hobbies, taking up pottery classes or some dance classes. I don't know. Cooking classes in my like also focusing on getting my name out there as well. Because I'm new, fresh in the fashion industry. So just like working to make an impression and just working on my craft, whether that's styling, designing, or
Gotcha. So firstly,
sorry.
No, you go for it. Continue.
I was just gonna say, like, also I recently got a little job at a thrift store. It's called Bali. Was it? I don't know if you.
I've actually, I think I've come across it on social media.
It's literally the cutest store ever. And just like as someone that's come out of college, I think it's pretty cool that I'm gonna be doing something clothing related and not just in designing, because I really don't want to see a sewing machine for like at least another. But keeping that like passion alive and just hang out with new people.
Real stuff though, and good luck with that. Good luck with. I know sounds like you're gonna be amazing at it. Facts. But like what I was gonna say is like thank you so much for agreeing to come on the FRM podcast. Really sick having you. Like I said, I'm a fan of your work. And I think, like I really appreciate your POV. So good luck for like the year and stuff. And thank you to everyone as well for joining us. This is episode 2 of the Front Row Media Podcast. with Panashe Ndhlovu. And we'll be back for more. Like, subscribe, do all of those things.
Front Row Media Podcast.